Hello, family and friends. Welcome to another edition of the Reimagine You Lab podcast. And of course, I am your host, MG, the Michelle Gans, the Reimagine strategist, here with Dr. Joyce G. Moore. You know, it's the third Friday, and on third Fridays, we always have Dr. Joyce coming to share something with us so we can make healthy happen in our lives. Welcome, Dr. Joyce. How are you today?
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me back to the show. I am blessed. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Well, today, Dr. Joyce, it looks like we're going a little deeper into the EMFs.
Yes. We're going to unpack a lot today.
All right. Well, we're ready. We are ready. I'm not going to even belabor the time. We're going to go ahead and get in. So I guess we probably better give the disclaimer, though, before we get started.
Absolutely. So the information is for educational, motivational, inspirational purposes only, and not to make a diagnosis or a treatment.
All right. And you guys, don't forget that you can always reach out at purplemindbook.com or amazon.com, and you can find information where that Dr. Joyce shares with in Purple Mind, the Shield of Protection. She actually has a series of books that are there that enable and equip you to make that healthy happen. There's so much that she provides. So go and take a peek and make sure you grab a copy if you haven't already. Well, Dr. Joyce, with that, I say let's go ahead and get started. EMFs. You want to remind people?
Yes. EMS stands for Electromagnetic Frequencies. And so what we're going to be doing today is talking about EMFs, the hidden harms, and how to protect your DNA with healthy diets.
Okay. Well, we're starting with the Word of God today, Dr. Joyce, which I absolutely love.
Yes. We're going to be getting the wisdom words to make spiritually informed decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So the scientific information that I provide, I use the lens of God's word to actually say, okay, this is good, or this is what I believe will be helpful. So when we look at Genesis 1:26 in the Promise Bible, then God said, let us make people in our image to be like ourselves. Genesis 1:29 in the Promise Bible, God said, look, I have given you the seed-bearing plants throughout the earth and all the fruit trees for your food. And this is our provision for the body. Psalms 139:13 and 14. You made all of the delicate inner parts of my body. Thank you, God, for making me so wonderfully complex. And this is assurance. This is our blessed assurance. Then 2 Corinthians 4:7 in the Promise Bible says, we have this precious treasure, this light and power that now shines within us is held in our permissible weak body. So in this perishable clay bodies that we're in, we have power. God has given us power. So he's given us provision with food. He's provided for us assurance and power. And so why protect your DNA from electromagnetic frequency? Your DNA, which stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, contains your genetic code. Information that we have inherited from both parents and the parents from their ancestors that has been passed down from generation to generation over thousands of years. Your DNA is located in the nucleus, and we're going to see a picture of the cell and where the nucleus is located of each of your cells. It's like a spiral staircase. So if you look to the right of the screen, you'll actually see a picture of the DNA helix. Consists of two long horizontal rods composed of nucleic acid that contains the blueprint of each of the 37.2 trillion, and that's trillion with a T cells in your body. These two long horizontal rods are joined together by strong hydrogen bonds. So if you were to pull and straighten out the DNA from all of your cells, you would have a DNA superhighway that extends 42 billion miles long. And that's billion with the B, miles long.
That's a lot of miles, Dr. Joyce. That's a whole lot of miles.
Yeah, this is genetic information that's passed from generation to generation for over thousands of years. Now, not all of the information, but the pertinent information God has placed in us so that we can fulfill the purpose for being placed here on earth.
Yeah.
And this is another picture of the DNA helix. Beautiful spiral staircase.
Mm-hmm.
So damaged DNA containing your genetic code impacts your overall cellular activities, including your metabolism, growth, and reproduction. And it can cause both visible and invisible damage. So when we say visible, we're talking about damaged DNA can lead to premature aging, wrinkled skin, skin cancer, some cataracts, and other eye problems. Scientifically, melanin is an antioxidant produced by the body in brown and black people. The melanin helps to protect the DNA in your skin or in the skin of brown and black people from ultraviolet sunlight damage that can cause skin cancer. Now, we know that ultralight is also a non-irradiating, non-oxidizing radiation, and it comes from the sun. And the EMF that we're talking about today is non-ionizing radiation, but it's man-made ionizing radiation.
Okay.
So now, what are the invisible damages from DNA that has been affected by electromagnetic frequency? So inside the body, which we cannot see, so it's invisible damage to DNA. It can cause cancers, damage to the brain, your heart, your reproductive system, and other organs. And it seems like this EMF radiation is prone to damage the brain, the heart, and the reproductive organs. And that's because they contain a little bit more calcification than the other organs. So research shows that the high EMFs, that's man-made EMFs, 5G cell phones and other wireless devices emit non-ionizing radiation that can be absorbed when it comes in close contact with your body and damage your genetic code, your DNA. Also, it damages your mitochondria and the proteins and even some stem cells. So this is a hidden harm that does a lot of damage to the body. It increased now the way that that the cellular mechanism that the electromagnetic frequency causes damage to the body. There are several ways, but we're going to talk about the electromagnetic frequencies causing an increase in vibrations of your atoms. And this is particularly in the water molecules. And we know that the water molecules make up what? 70% of the human bodies. Yeah. So it is detrimental to the water molecules. It heats them up. It causes a negatively effect in the water matrix. And we know that all living matter contains a lot of water or need water to survive. The second effect that electromagnetic frequency has on the human body is that it causes the calcium channels to disrupt in the cell membrane. And when that happens, it allows more calcium inside of the cell, and there's supposed to be more calcium on the outside of the cell versus the inside of the cell. And so as a result of this, it produces free radicals. And we've talked about free radicals, saying that these are harmful to the human body. And if you don't have enough antioxidants to balance out the free radicals, it causes oxidative stress to the cells. And whenever we have oxidative stress to the cells, this is when we can get the damaged DNA.
Yeah. Whew. Dr. Joyce, I'm telling you, it's always so much that you're sharing here. Like it's good for us to notice.
Yes, and by you having the program, the viewers can actually go back and review it over and over and over, because you might want to hear this several times.
Yeah.
The first time it may be like, ooh, overwhelming, but just after you hear it more than once, then it will, you'll be able to retain. But the main thing is that the electromagnetic frequency, even though we can't see it, we cannot hear it, we cannot smell it, it's doing hidden harms to our bodies by being absorbed, versus x-rays that penetrates through the body. The electromagnetic frequency from cell phones and other wireless devices, that's absorbed into the body. So when you bring these wireless devices close to your body, what they do, they absorb through your body, and they affect the very smallest element of the matter. And everything is matter. We're matter, and we do matter.
Yes. Absolutely.
So when the electromagnetic frequency comes in contact with this small element in your body called atom, in the very center of that atom, we have protons and neutrons that are packed closely together.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have on the outside, we have in these orbits around the nucleus, we have the electrons. They're negatively charged. The protons are positively charged. When you bring these wireless devices in close contact with your bodies, and they're absorbed into your bodies, what they do is they go in through the cell to the very center where you have the proton. And that proton will energize the electromagnetic frequency and cause it to heat up. Mm-hmm. Now, we just talked about how water contains a lot of it's the water molecules, which make up 70% of the body. They have an affinity. Water conducts electricity. So what it does to the water molecule is it heats it up, and the atom will start spinning. And as the atom spins or vibrate, it causes more heat. And that heat will actually cause damage to the hydrogen, the H2O, the hydrogen bonds that make up the water molecule. And it will cause a disruption in the cellular mechanism that the water has to perform for life. So with that water molecule being disrupted, it will not carry on the normal cellular activity for metabolism and growth and reproduction in the body. So now if you look at the right, we have a picture of the normal human cell. Now we have these atoms, which are the smallest element in matter. So in order to see an atom, you actually need a special microscope to see it, electronic microscope to see the atom. However, to see the normal human cell, you need a microscope as well. But because the atom is the smallest element, much smaller than the human cell, the microscope to view the normal human cell does not have to be as powerful. But this is a picture of the normal human cell. And so again, when you bring the wireless devices, the 5G cell phones and other wireless devices in contact with your skin, they are absorbed. And once they get into the body and come in contact with the cell membrane serves as a barrier, a protection for your cell. Once they get into the cell membrane, what they will do is they will cause the cell membrane channels to be disrupted. And so now, instead of the cell membrane saying, we only need this amount of calcium to come into the cell, calcium rushes and it flows, and there's an influx, an increase of calcium that gets into the cell. And in the very center of that cell, we have the DNA. So it has to go through the nuclear membrane, which is the second layer. And I say in the spiritual term, the second veil. So once it gets into that nuclear membrane, that's where we have the DNA. And when it does damage to the DNA, that's when we can get, that's when you can get cancer or any other type of diseases. But also I want to mention, when you look again at the cell membrane, you have the mitochondria. The DNA serves as the headquarters. It's giving the cell all of the information it needs to make other cells, the blueprint of the cells. But the mitochondria is also very important because this is your powerhouse. This is where all of your energy comes from. So when you eat and your food is metabolized, it's supposed to give energy. And also in that, in the cytoplasm of the cell, we also have proteins that are made. So this is just a picture of the normal human cell and showing us that we have to protect the cells by keeping these wireless devices that give off electromagnetic energy that's absorbed into our bodies. Remember, cell phones, cell damage. Okay, so now we see, in addition to keeping the cell phones that cause cell damage from coming into close contact with our bodies, we also have to make sure that we're eating a proper carbohydrate diet. And the reason why I emphasize carbohydrate is because the carbohydrate is what provides energy, remember, in the mitochondria, which is located in the cytoplasm. So in that mitochondria that's located in the mitochondria that's located in the cytoplasm of the cell, if you're eating a diet that contains refined carbohydrates, then there's a possibility that you're going to get more production of the superoxide. Now, superoxide is a free radical. So when the mitochondria metabolize a poor carbohydrate diet, it's going to produce more superoxide. Now, from that calcium disrupting from the electromagnetic frequency disrupting your cell membrane, and you're having an increased amount of calcium moving from outside of the cell, inside of the cell to inside of the cell, then not only will you have calcium, you have other gases coming in called nitric oxide. And we'll see later on that nitric oxide by itself is good. But when it meets up with the superoxide that's produced by a poor diet, then you get what's called peroxynitrate. And peroxynitrate is an oxidant which causes stress. And it's also even worse than X-rays because it has a long lifespan. So in other words, it's moving in between cells and in and out of cells. And if it gets in the cell to the nucleus of the cell, to the DNA of the cell, then we have what's called a carbonate-free radicals are produced. And they're the ones that are super bad guys, and they have a long lifespan as well. And they do damage directly to the DNA.
Oh, wow.
And so here we can see the damage that the carbonate-free radicals will do. And again, this is due to a poor diet. So not only do we have to make sure that we keep our distance from these wireless devices, but now we have to remember all of the information that you provided on, allowed me to talk about foods on the other show with the
Yeah.
antioxidants and the carbohydrates. We
Mhm.
see that now eating a diet, a healthy carbohydrate diet, is very important to prevent cell damage to your DNA. And what keeps the double strand DNA helix together is the hydrogen bond, and that hydrogen bond is it keeps it together by having protons, electricity, which moves back and forth along the hydrogen bonds, and these carbonated free radicals will damage that hydrogen bond and can cause damage to the genetic material um, that's noted on the strands, break and even entirely break the double strand DNA helix.
Oh,
So
good.
it's very important that we distance ourselves, make sure we don't have these devices directly on our bodies, and then now we have to make sure we're going to eat a good diet, so at least good carbohydrate diets as well.
Yeah. Dr. Joyce, let me ask you a question. So when you're talking about, like your devices, because we see people with devices, cell phones, Bluetooth earphones and speakers and different type of things and stuff like that. Is the recommendation that, as you're being mindful, talk, I see a lot of people often speaking, talking even out in public on their with speaker phone. So is that like one of the things? Is that one of the things people can do to kind of eliminate some of that, some of those EMFs from absorbing to at high rate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And do away with the Bluetooth in
Okay,
the AirPods. And they have these headsets now, or headphones, that actually have like a vacuum, ear vacuum, that transmit the sound through your headphone to you to hear, rather than the wired type, because they're saying that the EMF electricity can even pass along the wires. So you want to try to find a headphone that has this plastic and has an ear vacuum where the sound travels to. But definitely, we have to get away from carrying those cell phones in your pockets and your jackets, because they are constantly giving off radiation, even when they're on the airplane mode or off mode.
okay, okay.
That's a great question, and I think we talked about that a little bit in your prior podcast, where we talked about hidden harms,
Mm-hmm.
how to
Mm-hmm.
lower your EMF lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I want
we,
to bring that back up here so that people can hear, like what
yes,
things they can do to avoid and um, watch the minimize the impact.
exactly. And then go back and watch that particular podcast too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You
Yeah.
guys know that you can always go back and listen to any of the shows.
Which,
Dr. Joy is on every third Friday, and I want to say the past 3 months we have been talking about EMFs in some degree or another. So it's a good series for you to dive into and learn some more, so that you can really kind of get well versed, so that you know how to not only for you but even to share with other people.
exactly, especially your children, because
Mhm.
they are more sensitive. Their bodies have more water, their brain has more water, and remember that water attracts this EMF so that
Okay.
it's absorbed. So you definitely want to limit your children's time that they use these devices, but make sure they keep these devices off of their bodies.
Okay.
And so we have some conditions associated with damaged DNA: Alzheimer's, heart disease and stroke, celiac disease, schizophrenia, type 2 obesity, Parkinson's disease, autism spectrum disorder, birth defects, all cancers, depression, PTSD, aging, arthritis, infertility, and we have associated autoimmune disorders, uh, rheumatoid arthritis, systemic lupus erythematosus, which is referred to as lupus, and the inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, and ulcerative colitis. Okay, so protecting your DNA with healthy diets. Now, again, on Miss Michelle's show, we talked about foods to eat to protect your DNA. We talked about healthy carbohydrates. So I'm not going to go into too much details with these today because you can always refer back to those featured segments to listen to this. So eating organic, and again, organic non-GMO foods rich in antioxidants are beneficial for your general health and help protect your genetic code DNA from damage caused by an overwhelming production of free radicals caused by the combination of poor diet and 5G EMF exposure. So we have a wisdom words here.
Yeah.
Genesis 1:29. God said, "See, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of all the land, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food." Now, God's words are not suggestions, they are instructions that helps to protect our body and to give us power.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we're looking for these foods and we're talking about organic, non-GMO, you want to look for these little logos on your food. USDA organic, meaning that it was grown in land, but it doesn't mean that it's non-GMO, which means that it hasn't been genetically altered. So you want to see both of these. You want to see USDA organic and you want to see non-GMO verified. And that's because, Miss Michelle, 90% of the food now in the grocery stores on the shelves are modified. They're GMO foods. So we have to look for this. Now, in purchasing vegetables and fruits, you'll probably have a sticker or a little wrap around a bundle of fruit. And this is called your price lookup code. That should start with a number 9. The first number to the left of that 4 or 5 digit number, you should be looking for 9. It means that your fruit or vegetable has not been genetically modified.
Okay. You got to look for that.
Right. And so, again, avoid these price lookup codes. You definitely want to stay away from the 8. If you see the first letter, the first number to the left, if it starts with an 8, and you're going to very seldom see this 8. But if you do, you definitely want to stay away from that, because just like 9 meant non-GMO, 8 means that it has been genetically modified with an organism. And then 4-3 means that the fruit or vegetable has been sprayed with some type of toxic insecticide or pesticide. So if you buy a fruit or vegetable with 3 or 4, make sure that you clean it with either salt and vinegar or salt or vinegar.
Okay. So, and Dr. Joyce, I just want to reiterate. So if you see something with an 8, that means that it has been genetically modified outright.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But again, you're not going to see that. They're hiding a lot of foods under 4 and 3.
Okay.
And they're not just coming out saying this has been genetically modified.
Okay. Okay. We got to be paying attention. We have to look. We have to look. We have to look.
Yes, and read these labels. Read the labels and the price lookup numbers. Okay, so DNA protection with a healthy diet. Again, God's word says that we should eat fruits and vegetables that bear seeds because he has put everything in this fruit, everything in this vegetable that will protect our DNA, and that's called antioxidants. And you remember these are like substance like vitamin A, beta carotene of vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin E, as well as minerals, zinc, that will protect your DNA. That's found in these foods. So when we look at vegetables, we're looking at arugula. Now, the amazing thing about arugula, and we remember we were talking about nitric oxide when we saw the diagram or the illustration of the poor diet. Nitric oxide actually is found in the inner lining of blood vessels. And what it does is it lowers your blood pressure, increase the blood flow, which helps to prevent heart disease, stroke, and can prevent erectile dysfunction, ED. However, if your body comes into contact with the electromagnetic frequency and it's absorbed in through your skin and get to the cell, causing cell damage, cell phones, cell damage, what happens is when the calcium channel is interrupted, also the nitric oxide will flow into the cell. It will combine with that bad carbohydrate free radical called superoxide that's produced inside of your body to cause the free radical to cause the antioxidant peroxide nitrate, and then the peroxide nitrate will cause the carbonate free radicals, and that's where you get interruption of your DNA bonds, causing DNA damage. But arugula is high in the nitric oxide, and when the nitric oxide stays inside of your blood vessels, it's wonderful to help prevent heart disease and other diseases. Then we have bamboo shoots. Now, the amazing thing about God is he gives us a variety of vegetables. So you may not like broccoli, but you might like bamboo shoots or brinjal or cabbage or cauliflower.
Yeah. Oh man, Dr. Joyce, I always feel like we get so close and running out of time. We got a few minutes here. Let's see if we can get through some more of the vegetables and stuff here that folks can use.
Okay, so eggplant, fiddlehead fern greens, kale, rutabaga, soybeans, and tofu. And of course, this has to be non-GMO. Spinach. That's another vegetable, a great vegetable. And as far as berries, all of the berries, as long as they are organic, non-GMO. And then we have camu, which is a berry native to the Amazon rainforest. Then we have grapefruit, guava, and pineapple and kiwi, mangoes, nectarines, oranges, papaya, peaches, pink grapefruit. Again, all of the fruits and vegetables with seeds. Plums, lychee, tomatoes, all of your tomatoes, watermelons, herbs, basil, and sage, and a lot of these things you already have in your kitchen cabinet. Thyme, turmeric, rosemary, peppermint, marjoram, teas, black teas, chamomile tea, chamomile tea, green tea, oblong tea. These are all teas that help to protect your DNA.
Yeah.
As far as your nuts, Now, nuts, they haven't start really genetically modifying too many of the nuts. So Brazil nuts, cashew nuts, walnuts, macadamia nuts, hazelnuts, pistachios, pecans, chestnuts. And then as far as seeds, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, squash seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're planning on having a dental or medical x-ray done, or if you are planning to fly on an airplane or go sunbathing at the beach, especially if you're light brown or light skin, light complected, make sure you consume 5 tablespoons, and that's about a fourth of a cup of either watermelon juice, or you can eat fresh watermelon, tomato juice, pink grapefruit juice, papaya juice, guava juice, and this will help to protect your DNA.
This has been good, Dr. Joyce. Listen, we're gonna have to come back and give them some more. Man, we just run out of time. But Dr. Joyce, anything that you want to say before we call it a time on this program today? The EMFs, girl, there's so much to unpack there. So
Yes,
much to unpack there.
it is, and we have gone through it. The thing that I want to mention about the carbohydrates is because this seems to be the big issue with the mitochondria, which is our ATP, our powerhouse. With the grains for carbohydrates, because we know that the carbohydrates actually gives us the energy that we need, but also oils. And so when you're choosing carbohydrates, make sure they are whole grain carbohydrates. They haven't been refined. If they have been refined, they will not contain the antioxidants that you need to protect yourself. So you may have to look at or go online and order some of your ancient grains rather than your white flour and your white rice. Try the wild rice. Try kamut, quinoa, which is from South America, polio, teff, all of the grains that are called whole grains.
Whole grain.
Are the grains that we need to be eating for carbohydrates, for a healthy diet that will help to prevent these free radicals from attacking our bodies. And then oils. You do get energy from oils. So you can do the heart healthy oil, olive oil, avocado oil. And if you want to fry, boil, or bake, avocado oil. And of course, we know that the extra virgin olive oil is just for sauteing. You cannot use high temperature. It becomes a bad oil if it's fried with or boiled. So drizzle that on your food, but that provides energy too. And so we have to remember that. And if we look at the next slide right quickly. Okay, so eating healthy, organic, non-GMO food rich in your antioxidants are beneficial for general health and DNA protection from free radicals. However, lowering your EMF lifestyle as follows: avoid body contact, increase your distance from them, and decrease your duration of exposure to wireless devices is the most effective approach to protect your cells in DNA genetic code from high man-made EMF, 5G cell phones, and other wireless devices. So again, we have to lower our EMF lifestyle. That's the best approach to prevention.
Yeah.
The reference books would be the Purple Mind Shield of Protection, the Purple Mind Nutrition and Wellness that I penned, and then there's a book by Dr. Joseph Mercola that I would highly recommend. This book here. And
Okay.
then on the YouTube.com, The Science of EMF, Health Risks by Dr. Eleanor Stein. So you can go back and look at these references, check the YouTube, listen to it, and so you can get more information and realize the importance of protecting yourself and staying from direct contact of these wireless man-made EMF devices that's absorbed into your body.
Yeah. Ooh, Dr. Joyce. So good. So good. I always thank and appreciate you for coming on and for sharing this kind of stuff, because a lot of times people really just don't know.
Exactly.
Just don't know.
And the word says, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
Yeah. Well,
I
we're gonna make sure they got
I am the messenger. I'm learning as well. When I do this research, I am learning about different things as well.
yeah.
And we have to remember, it's just like electricity. You know, if we have to pay attention, there are rules and regulation. Electricity is wonderful, but you can't climb electric pole without getting electrocuted. You can't put your fingers in the socket without getting shocked or hurt.
Yeah.
Same
No.
thing with cars. So we're advancing with this technology and using this technology, but along with it, we have to be aware of the laws and to protect our bodies, protect these wonderful temples that God has given us.
Yeah. There's always those risks. We do have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. Well, Dr. Joyce, it's always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you on. And everyone, you know, every Friday there's a new episode that comes out. We want you to hear it. But as Dr. Joyce has shared, we've done a series of episodes on EMF specifically. So you can go back, tune into the channel, and you can check it out so that you can be self-aware and you can make others aware of how to make healthy happen for them. So EMFs, you might not have thought about it, but Dr. Joyce, I heard her say, cell phone, cell damage. So we got to, so I want you guys to tune in, pay attention, and learn. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop notes in the show. So we will be able to come back on and answer those questions for you. And again, we want to thank you for tuning in today. Dr. Joyce, I will see you next